The late afternoon sun draped long golden streaks across the cracked training grounds of Ash Valley's K-9 unit facility. The air carried the faint scent of pine and worn-out leather, the kind of air that had seen years of drills, barks, and memories. And into that fading light stepped a small figure, a girl named Lily Carver, just 7 years old, her shoes dusty and too big, swallowed by the immense brown sheriff's coat hanging off her shoulders. It wasn't just any coat. It belonged to her late father, Deputy Nathan Carver, a local hero whose memory was stitched into every thread. She walked with quiet purpose, her eyes fixed not on the rows of watchful adults or the chatter of distant trainers, but on a single cage at the end of the corridor. Behind those bars lay Shadow, a large German shepherd whose once black muzzle now bore streaks of white like soft snow on dark soil. The moment his tired eyes met hers, the air changed. His ears perked, his tail gave a single thump, and his heavy body lifted off the cold floor as if it remembered joy. Lily didn't speak. She hadn't spoken to anyone since the funeral, 2 years back. But she didn't need words. Not with Shadow. She walked toward him slowly, like she was walking back into the arms of someone who had never left. Every step was heavy with memory, but it was her way of remembering how her father used to call Shadow the second heart that beats in this family. When she reached the cage, she knelt down, pressing her tiny palm against the cold metal. Shadow moved in closer, resting his forehead against the bars. And in that silent reunion, the weight of everything unsaid was understood. This wasn't a girl and a dog. This was something deeper. This was the last living link between a child and a father who would never come home. Lily's mother, Rachel, stood a few feet behind. She was a woman carved from quiet strength, holding herself together for Lily's sake. Each Saturday, without fail, she brought Lily to see Shadow. The trainers had stopped questioning it. They knew this was sacred. But one Wednesday afternoon, everything shattered again. Rachel had just finished washing dishes when she opened the envelope. Her hands trembled before she even read the words. A letter from the county. Short, cold, and clear. Retired K-9 officer Shadow to be auctioned at public event. Her heart dropped. Rachel gripped the counter, her breathing shallow. She knew what this meant. Shadow wasn't just a dog. He was family. He was the only thread left tying Lily to her father. But policy was policy. Retired dogs were county property, and Shadow was up for auction. Lily was still at school, drawing pictures of Shadow in her notebook, dreaming of the next Saturday visit. How would Rachel explain this? That they might lose the one being who still looked at Lily like she was whole. That night, while Lily slept, Rachel stared at the photo on their living room shelf. Nathan, smiling in his uniform, Shadow at his side, Lily nestled in his arms. She whispered through tears, "I'm sorry, Nathan. I swore I'd protect her. And now I'm losing the last piece of you." But Rachel wasn't one to give up. The next morning, she started calling every contact she had, begging, pleading, explaining. Some sympathized, others referred her to county policy. By midday, she created a GoFundMe page titled, "Help Bring Shadow Home to Lily." She uploaded photos of Lily and Shadow, wrote about the silent bond between them, about Lily's long silence, and the loss that had crushed her young world. The story caught fire. Donations trickled in, then flooded. Messages from strangers lit up the page. He's more than a dog. He's her guardian. For Deputy Carver. For Lily. For love. Within 48 hours, they had raised $38,000. Local news outlets ran headlines. Girl tries to save father's K-9 partner from auction. The town rallied behind them. Officers who had once served with Nathan called in, offering to help. Teachers, grocery store clerks, even high school students shared the page. On the day of the auction, Rachel dressed Lily carefully. The soft blue dress, clean white socks, and pinned over her heart, Nathan's badge. Lily didn't speak, but as she held the badge with both hands, her mother saw something in her eyes she hadn't seen in years. Determination. Ash Valley Community Hall was packed. Rows of folding chairs, a long registration table, and in the far corner, several retired canines. Calm, majestic, waiting. But Shadow didn't wait. The moment Lily entered, he sat up. His gaze never left her. The auctioneer began. One dog after another, bids flying, handlers nodding. Then came Shadow. K9 Officer Shadow, badge 914. Opening bid, $1,000. Rachel raised her paddle. The room seemed on her side. Then the door opened. A tall man in a blazer walked in, his daughter skipping beside him. Brent Whitaker, a wealthy out-of-town businessman. His daughter, Olivia, no older than Lily, was giggling with excitement. "Daddy, I want that one. The black and brown one." Brent chuckled. "You got it, princess." Rachel's heart sank. Brent had no idea. No idea what Shadow meant. He was just another bidder. He raised his paddle. $2,000. Rachel responded. $3,000. He smiled. $4,000. The room shifted. People whispered. Someone tried to explain the situation to him, but he waved it off. "I'm bidding fair and square. $5,000. $10,000. $20,000. Rachel maxed out at $38,000. Then Brent said it. $55,000. The room went silent. Rachel was out. Tears welled in her eyes. Then something changed. Lily stood up. She walked to the front, pulled Nathan's badge from her dress pocket, and held it high. And for the first time in 5 years, her voice rang out, shaky, soft, but full of fire. "He's not a pet." The silence was absolute. "He's an officer. He saved my dad. And he saves me every day." Even Olivia stopped fidgeting. Brent looked at Lily, really looked. Then down at Shadow. Then back at the badge in her hands. He sighed, deeply. "I didn't know," he said quietly. "We just came for a dog. I didn't realize." He turned to the auctioneer. "We withdraw our bid." The gavel dropped. K9 Shadow is awarded to Lily Carver. There were no cheers, just tears, just hands placed gently on shoulders. Quiet hugs, a feeling of justice. Shadow padded over to Lily, sat beside her. She placed her hand on his head. "Stand by," she whispered. He stood, proud and tall. From that day on, Shadow slept beside Lily. He walked her to school, sat next to her during therapy. And piece by piece, Lily began to heal. She laughed again, spoke more, smiled often. One day, someone asked her, "How did you find your voice again?" She looked at Shadow, then at her dad's badge hanging in the hallway. "He never stopped listening," she said. "So I decided to speak." And beside her, always, stood her hero. This concludes the story. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope you found it enjoyable. If you did, please consider liking the video and sharing it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell for more captivating stories. Have a great day.